I'm just showing you my progress with setting up drivers for Kebechet's hands and some drivers that I created for her eyes. So hopefully I can actually remember what I did here so I can show you. So I followed a tutorial which is, well, I'll put in a link below. But for now, this is based off of the Metarig. So if you go, I guess, into object mode and shift A for armature, and I'll show you, this is the meta bone that comes with Blender. So basically I just cut this guy or this person in half, and I just deleted these bottom bones, and then I created this tail and parented to the base here anyways, and I deleted this crazy complicated base rig. But so you see there is some differences with this I guess these axes compared to the tutorial. The thumb isn't consistent with the fingers, so that's something to watch out for if you're planning on making drivers. So let's jump in and take a closer look at my model here. Let's delete this guy. Okay, so these drivers, there's no, there you go. So before you start, if you have an IK set up already, what I did is I went to the IK constraints and I turned them off before I set up my controllers that I created here, because with right now they're turned off, but if you turn them on you can see that it basically I think it's because I didn't have this IK handle in the exact same angle as the hands. So you can see if you go to edit mode, the default pose is like this, right? So I wanted it to be consistent, so I just made sure I turned that off. So I'm disabling on the forearm here, I'm disabling the constraint on the elbow, and this is for the copying the rotations. And there you go. And how I started was I just, much like the tutorial in the link, I just, basically copied this bone and then I unparented it and followed the tutorial. The thumb compared to the rest of the fingers, well, the first difference is that I only applied the driver to work on the last two digits here because it just seemed too awkward. So the driver is applied to these main base bones for the fingers, and you can see that there's a driver in purple here on the X, and you can just right click to create a driver, edit it, or delete it. And on the thumb I've applied it to this second joint instead, and the big difference is that the axes here, the rotational axes, is different, so that's kind of annoying. I mean, that's what caused my controllers to not move in the same directions. When I pushed it all in one way in Y, the thumb would be going in the opposite direction, right? So as well, I'll just open up the driver to show you. So everything's set up in the Y location, which is fine, and the only difference is that I copied the driver of these ones into the Z rotation instead. So as you can see, it's on the Z rotation like this as a visual cue, that which is easier to see what I am, which finger. So basically this is a thumb, index, and it goes right to the pinky, right? And I set it up so that when I pull it like X, her fingers expand accordingly. However, when I did create this, this was actually going the opposite way and the thumb was going the opposite way. So all I did was just, when I symmetrized the armature, I just moved these controls on this side and I moved it to this side. And I know they probably wasn't going to be exactly lined up, but I just visually lined it up to the grid. I think I can export this into Unreal, as I've read that bendy bones don't export. So I don't think it really matters that it's not exact or anything. And with the eyes, basically I use the same theories on the hand with the eyes. And this is the only thing that's really changed is I had those bones in the corner and I've moved them. I think I moved them into the middle instead and just renamed them and reweighted it. So I mean, if you can't see it now, but if you move them individually, I mean, they don't move nicely or evenly. So in this one moves, as you can see, I have the sliders only to close. I move it to the right. Okay. So this bottom lid moves slower than the top, right? So the only difference was in the driver, and to open up the driver, you just, you can go right click edit, and the edit driver menu likes to pop and disappear for some reason, but you can also find it under here, whichever is easier for you to find. So here, the only difference is I basically, the expression, I don't know anything about programming or Python, but just the expression is, this is the speed, the times, and on the fingers on that tutorial it was times 4 times the speed, so that when you have your control slider it would move faster instead of so slow where you have to drag the slider across the whole screen. So here I just control the speed where the top eyelids blink, I guess, faster than the bottom ones. So it's so this one's only 0.25 the speed, right? So I just alter the speed so that they move accordingly, so that the mesh moves more evenly. So this one would not be moving as much. So it's 0.22. And I just basically tweak those numbers so that this bottom one is slower than the top one. And I mean, I tried to create a controller for the eyes, but that didn't work out so well for some reason. When I try to parent it to the head, if I move this head, you know, her eyelids wasn't moving with her in the other rig I tried. So anyways, I think it was just best to keep it really simple, and I just kept these out of the way from her face so that they're easy to select for myself. You know, and this is the only reason why I have it set up facing front, because I think most of the time I will be animating her from the front view. Yeah, and that's it for now. I hope that was helpful, and I hope it's not as painful for you as it was for me, because the driver for some reason was not working all the time. So if it's not working all the time, you might just have to restart Blender, or just revert to older file, because sometimes it's just a little bit sticky. Alright, thank you, bye.